Test 1, 2, 3. Hi guys, welcome to another Blender tutorial. If you are new, subscribe. I upload Blender tutorials. 100 subscribers. It's almost done. Just 30 people and we are fucking army. Today I'm gonna show you something cool. I'm gonna bring some 3D model and we're gonna play around on the shading editor to create something like comic book kind of style of shading and cartoon. Very stylistic, very cool stuff. And very simple. So I am in Blender, as you can see. I'm gonna select my cube by the left click X and delete. Now on the file I'm gonna load my import FBX and I have some 3D model and some animation. I'm just gonna use like standing. You can use whatever model you have. Basically you can download some free 3D models on Google, of course. And you can animate your 3D models in Maximo 3D. Just tap in Google and whatever. So I'm gonna just go right here on the sphere tab and bring the values down because I wanna show the results. And Shift A on the mesh, I'm gonna choose plane and scale this by S and move the mouse. Now I must bring this fucking window up and basically change this to a shading editor, and we can play around on the stuff. So I'm just selecting my model and I can delete right here those textures and this shader. So selecting by the mouse and X, of course. Yes, now this is very simple to you can build more to this. I'm gonna talk a little bit more. So Shift A, I'm gonna choose on the shader diffuse. Shift A, of course, on the texture. Maybe I'm gonna choose first noise texture, and I'm gonna show you on Vanilla texture how it looks. So I'm just plugging this noise texture factor to the color right here, diffuse. Shift A, I need very important color ramp, and basically this goes color right here to the surface on the output right here. And Shift A, we need of course shader to RGB because this is fucking shader and we must convert this to RGB. Yes, you guessed it. So shader to RGB and color right here to the color ramp. And of course I can add mapping and textures coordinate, so search for those. Shift A, of course. I'm not gonna do this because I am fucking lazy motherfucker. So what I wanna show you, basically I'm just gonna switch. I hope my PC not gonna lag in, and we're gonna play a little bit on the color ramp and bring the scale on detail. And you can mix another textures. I'm gonna show you on Vanilla texture. This give me very like comic book kind of style of the model, yes, of look, basically, of the shading. Okay, now I'm gonna just go right here on this tab and bring this light view world setup to the 0. We're gonna close and I'm gonna just make this window a little bit bigger. So I can of course cut the whites, and this give me already cool kind of pattern, yes, as you can see. And I can of course scale this texture, this noise texture, and as you can see this give me this very kind of stylistic look to this model, yes. And I can of course bring the detail more and play around on the roughness and on the distortion if I want, yes, to have different kind of look. And I can play around on this color ramp, how much I want this fucking to be, yes. I can make a little bit this texture pop up on my character, just cut the blackness and whatever, yes, and I can cut the white too. So as you can see I can have only edges on my character or whatever, and I can have very much pattern, yes, if I'm gonna cut the whites and bring the blacks more. So this is very cool, guys, but what I want to show you more, because this is very important. But first maybe we're gonna test on this another texture. So I'm just selecting this by the left click, noise texture X and delete, of course, yes. Shift A, and you can bring whatever texture you want, of course. I'm gonna choose Vanilla texture. Wait guys, texture, Vanilla texture, and I can of course right here connect this, and this give me this kind of circle kind of shape to the model, as you can see. And I can bring this to the fucking plane too right here, I think this is the one. I hope my PC is not lagging. Yes, as you can see, this looks like shit, but look on the character. And I can switch and play around on this Vanilla texture too. Yes, I can play around on the scale, and this gives me, like I said, very cool pattern on my character. Looks almost like from comic book or whatever. And I can switch this from Vanilla texture to from F2 for F1 to F2. You see, yes, what I am doing, and I can play around and do another different kind of patterns on my character. And what it's very powerful basically is the lighting, because if I'm gonna just select my sun and go to the right here, this icon to the sun, and I can switch this to the point, I can basically play around on the strength on the lighting, and this gives very cool, like, what kind of area of my character is basically view. Yes, so it's very important to play around on the lighting, and I can switch this to area. This is too much. Yes, to have different kind of look. As you can see, this is like half of my character is in shadows, half is, and this is very powerful, cause basically powerful magic, because basically you can bring some animated models. Yes, and you have this kind of stylistic look. You can create something like comic book animation and whatever. Yes, with very simple shaders tree. You can bring vanilla texture or noise texture or wave texture or whatever texture, diffuse shader, shader to RGB. This works only on Eevee, and shader to RGB goes to the color ramp, and color ramp goes to the right here output, and you can change the colors right here on the color ramp too, to have different kind of look, different colors. Yes, on your character. I hope you get it. This is very simple, and like I said, you can bring, of course, mapping and textures coordinate to change the location and rotation. Yes, very cool stuff. Play around if you want. You can play around, of course, on the fucking lighting, because this is very important. Like I said, the lighting make changes. I can bring basically the light on my fucking model if I'm gonna just correctly fucking do the rotation. Whatever, just play around on the stuff, okay? You can create very something cool. Wait, guys, I'm gonna bring more the light just to see. Very kind of stylistic animation, and it's very simple. So thank you for watching, guys. Very simple tutorial about play around on the stuff, bring some animated models, and you have this kind of cool shaders on your fucking models. Thank you for watching, guys. See you on the next video.